I hate the word niche. So let's make this video the last video you watched about this word. I remember a time a year ago when I started my YouTube channel and this kind of videos were starting to pop up on my home feed. This is probably the first step you do when trying to create your channel. And the worst thing is when you watch this kind of videos, you don't upload videos, but you just learn something for nothing, for no reason. Because I think the gurus that are telling you to start with niche are wrong, all of them. Because it simply takes your brain energy in the beginning where you don't even need it. What do you actually do when you start your channel? I call it generalist. You are being this guy. But who is generalist? Well, it's a guy that talks about these three things: money or business, health, and relationships. This is just three buckets of lives that all people have. Everybody has job, everybody has the health problems, and everybody has relationships, either with their family or their loved ones. So you basically create videos randomly on your interests, on something that pops into your brain and some random ideas that you have about either of these topics. And you're not really marrying none of them. I remember my old YouTube intro where I told exactly that thing, that I help people with all of that. The problem was it that you can't really monetize it. If you talk about everything, you talk about nothing. And I know for some people YouTube is a business, but for me when I was starting out, it wasn't. It was just a thing to try and experiment, a new way of looking at business, potentially having a business, but I just focus on my passion. The quick story, I was listening to a podcast one day, and this guy that was doing this podcast, Alex Hormozy, he told exactly the same story that I just read yesterday in this book called Atomic Habits. And it was like word to word, and he just added his own interpretation to it. And I thought, whoa, I can basically do the same thing. Why don't I just tell the story and tell the learning lessons from it and be like Alex Hormozy? I started with it, and the story was about like addictions, about your health. And then I was like about talking about relationships. I had a bunch of videos about girls, and I also was talking about money and business and how to work and stuff, but I wasn't making any money here. The principle is to start with being a generalist. Talk about everything that interests you, any passion you have, full film that cover anything. Now this is in the beginning. There is stages to your YouTube career. I would say generalist is like from 0 to 50 subscribers. But when do you actually need this hate word niche? I'm gonna just call it a topic. When do you need a topic for your channel? The simple answer is when you need to make money. And when I was starting out, I didn't really need to. I know that there is like a principle. When you ask for money, you kind of like withdraw some goodwill from your channel and you decrease your reputation a little bit. And people hate when they're being sold to something, even though it actually helps them. But if you focus on that, if you focus on one topic, you can become expert in this topic because you learn about it. You're just the guy about it. Like there is many people that you can add adjectives to their name. Let's list some of them: Hamza, self-improvement guy; Ali Abdal, productivity guy; Chris Williamson, podcast guy, right? And many much more YouTubers that you can describe as an adjective. And you want to become one of this guy because all of them that I've listed make much of money. And the simple explanation to it, it just gives them more credibility because they've been there. Like Ali Abdal started, I don't know, 5 years ago when he was a math freaking student. And right now he learned all of the topics. Like he knows like some really autistic stuff about it, like Pomodoro timers and some freaking limiters that limits your apps. Talking about that, there's like stages to niches as well. And you either really credible and you're big like Sam Sulek, you have this muscle, this is why people listen to you, or you're really autistic about the niche you're talking, the topic you picked, you really know much stuff. So if I give you the analogy, there's a Walmart, and if you ask people about looks maxing, like everybody would say, smile and smile and be confident. This is how you make your looks better. Top 10% of people would say about grooming, to get better haircuts and to clean your teeth or something. And top 1% of people would say mewing, you know, when you put your tongue on top of your mouse. And like, this is really autistic stuff. But top 0.1% would say use UUDB method. And I'm not joking, there is a real method that is called like this. It's when you like change the way of your eyes by doing some exercises. I'm not really sure, I'm not in that niche, not in that topic. But those people, they would be listened to simply because they're so good in their topic. And the last stage is basically the lowest stage, I would say, is when people are having this problem and they're solving it in the present moment and they're just documenting their journey. So you've seen the POV videos from Daniel and Sam Strulik leg day and workout stuff. So he's like accomplishing of both credibility and having a problem, you know, is constantly solving the problem of getting more muscles. So let's categorize this. Credibility, which is basically proof, which makes you expert, which makes you to find solutions and share it with people by documenting your life. And if you reverse it, it allows you to understand how you pick your niche. You either look at credibility and ask yourself a question: what's my win? Particularly the biggest win, the biggest achievement of your life, and you go with that. Or if you don't have any ideas, you ask yourself, what are you fighting with right now? What's your biggest problem you're trying to solve that you could document? And this one, you can really delude yourself, so you need to think about it. The actionable step for you would be list from 5 to 10 ideas right now. Pick up your notes, literally. I'm gonna wait until you do. And think about the topics that you want to talk about that describes your biggest win in your life, your biggest achievement, the thing that you're really proud of. To make it easier, if people looked at you and you've been recognized for it, then go with it. It reminds me of Alex Hormozy's story when he like opened his gym and this one woman asked him to help her to create a diet for her to lose weight. And so he went to mall with her to a restaurant. He told her what to eat. He did it for free because she just needed help and he helped her. She asked for help and she said, all right, how much money do I give you for this advice? Like, he helped her for free. And this is probably the coolest one. Me, myself, I can talk about YouTube for hours with my friends and it doesn't bore me. And, you know, when they ask advice, I give them the advice. And that's like one of the biggest factors that shows you that you are expert in this and you have credibility because people just ask you about it for free. So list out the ideas right now. Do the actionable step. If you have no ideas, think about the current problem that you're struggling with and you're working on. Maybe you have an addiction, you scroll through TikTok too much, and you make like a dopamine detox video about your experience, how you overcame the addiction, or how you fighting with it. And people may find it interesting, but remember that you do not marry all of that. Hopefully you picked the niche right now. Hopefully you find some topics that you can talk about, experiment with them, like those that you've listed on your notes. But remember, you don't marry it. There is no marriage. You can switch it, especially if you're at the beginner stages. Especially when you're a generalist, you could talk about stuff. But if you want to improve your business, or if you need a topic, but you don't marry it. Maybe one day you solved the problem and you help people to solve it. You help some people, you coach them like I did, for example. I remember I started with speaking skills and I had like this guy that I helped to improve it. And I thought, okay, it's not really the thing I wanted to talk about. Once again, thinking about business isn't cute, right? You need like strategies to make it work. But imagine there is two people. The guy that just do it for money and just use strategies, money guy, and the guy that do it for money, but also he likes it. He likes to help people. Which one would win? This is obvious. I don't need to explain why. It reminds me of advice from Naval Ravikant, this millionaire. The work should feel like play to you, but work to others. And this is when you achieve greatness. This is when you become the expert. Hopefully, you now know the topic that you want to talk about. That would make you more money and also you love to speak about. But what is the next step? And I think it's to get more clarity. This is why I have this video, again, reminding you about 3 YouTube stages that you can go watch right now, realize which stage you're at, and play the rules of this endless game of YouTube.